Captain Alex Morgan stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defender *, his eyes fixed on the holographic display. A strange object hovered at the edge of the solar system, just beyond Pluto's orbit. It wasn't a comet or asteroid. Its movements were too precise, too deliberate. "What do you think it is?" asked Lieutenant Kelly Moore, her voice hushed. "Artificial," Morgan replied, "and definitely not one of ours." After decades of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, humanity had its answer. They weren't alone. The probe was sleek and metallic, with strange symbols etched across its surface. It emitted signals unlike anything in Earth's databases. Within hours, the news spread across Earth, creating a mixture of excitement and fear. Dr. Olivia Winters led the team tasked with deciphering the alien signals. A brilliant linguist with expertise in pattern recognition, she worked tirelessly for days before having a breakthrough. "It's a greeting," she announced to the United Nations Security Council, "and coordinates for a meeting point near Jupiter." Earth sent its best and brightest, scientists, diplomats, and military personnel aboard the Defender *. Captain Morgan maintained a cautious distance as they approached the coordinates. A massive ship appeared, dwarfing the human vessel. It gleamed like polished obsidian against the backdrop of space. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Winters. The aliens called themselves the Zeraxians. They transmitted images showing a vast empire spanning 3 arms of the galaxy. Their message contained translation protocols that allowed basic communication. When the alien's image appeared on screen, Morgan felt his breath catch. The Zeraxian ambassador resembled a tall, mantis-like creature with iridescent scales and 4 arms. Its eyes were large, multifaceted orbs that seemed to take in everything at once. "We welcome you to the civilized galaxy," the Zeraxian said, its voice translated into flat, emotionless English. "The Zeraxian Empire has ruled for 10,000 cycles. We bring order to chaos. We come in peace and friendship," Dr. Winters replied carefully. "Humanity is eager to learn from you and establish peaceful relations." The Zeraxian made a clicking sound that the translator didn't interpret. "Your species is primitive, yet shows potential for service. We will accept your surrender and begin colonization immediately. Your people will serve as laborers and soldiers in our expansion." Silence fell across the Defender's bridge. Dr. Winters exchanged shocked glances with Morgan before speaking again. "There must be a misunderstanding. We seek friendship between equals, not submission." "Equality." The Zeraxian's mandibles clicked rapidly. "You misunderstand your place in the natural order. Your technology is primitive. Your species controls only one planet. The Empire spans 300 worlds." For 3 days, Dr. Winters attempted negotiations while Earth's governments debated their response. The Zeraxians remained unmoved. Surrender or face conquest. The United Nations vote was unanimous. Earth would not submit. Morgan personally delivered the message to the Zeraxian ship. "Humanity rejects your terms. We propose peaceful coexistence and trade instead." The Zeraxian ambassador's compound eyes flickered with an emotion Morgan couldn't interpret. "We have conquered species far more advanced than yours. Your resistance is illogical. Nevertheless, we will defend our freedom," Morgan stated firmly. "You have 7 cycles to reconsider before we take your world by force," the Zeraxian replied. "You cannot win against the Empire." As the alien ship departed, Morgan watched it vanish into the darkness of space. He knew they were heading back to bring a war fleet. "Captain," Lieutenant Moore said quietly, "what are our chances?" Morgan's face was grim. "They think we're weak because we only have one world. They're measuring us by their standards: technology, territory, numbers." He turned to face his crew. "But they don't understand what humans do when backed into a corner." The Defender turned toward Earth. They had work to do. Humanity needed to prepare for war. News of the Zeraxian ultimatum spread across Earth like wildfire. For the first time in history, nations set aside their differences to face this existential threat. The United Nations emergency session lasted just 6 hours before establishing the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC. "We have 7 days before they return," General Laura Hayes told the assembled military leaders. 7 days to prepare for a war against an enemy with technology centuries beyond our own. The general's words hung heavy in the air. Traditional military doctrine was useless against an enemy who could cross interstellar space. They needed new tactics, new weapons, and new thinking. Chief Engineer Sam Donovan was pulled from his laboratory at MIT to lead the technological response. His experimental shield technology, originally designed to protect astronauts from radiation, became humanity's most promising defense. "The theory is solid," Donovan explained, pointing to complex equations on his tablet. "We can create an energy field that disrupts their weapons. But scaling it up from protecting a person to protecting a ship or a city, that's the challenge." Teams of scientists and engineers worked around the clock. Sleep was an afterthought. Coffee and determination kept them going as they repurposed existing technologies for war. Commander Natalie Foster, a decorated Special Forces veteran, took charge of military training. "Forget everything you know about conventional warfare," she told soldiers from dozens of countries. "We need to think like guerrillas, not armies." Foster established training centers where military personnel learned unconventional tactics. They studied how small forces throughout history had defeated larger, more advanced enemies. Vietnam, Afghanistan, ancient Rome versus Germanic tribes. Any historical example that might offer insights. "Even if they land on Earth, they won't understand our terrain like we do," Foster explained. "Our advantage is knowledge of our home and our willingness to defend it." Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Eric Martinez made a crucial discovery while analyzing the recorded transmissions from the Zeraxian ship. Their ships use bioneural systems, he reported to the EDC leadership. "Living tissue integrated with technology. It's incredibly advanced, but potentially vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies." This insight sparked a new direction in weapons development. While Donovan worked on shields, another team focused on creating devices that could disrupt the Zeraxian bioneural systems. Civilian preparations moved with equal urgency. Underground facilities, originally built as luxury bunkers for the wealthy or government continuity sites, were expanded to serve as evacuation centers. Food, water, and medical supplies were stockpiled. President Grace Williams addressed the world 5 days after first contact. "Humanity stands at its most critical moment. We face an enemy who sees us not as equals, but as resources to be exploited. Yet throughout our history, humans have repeatedly overcome seemingly impossible odds. We will not surrender our freedom. We will not become slaves. We will stand and fight." In secret facilities beneath the New Mexico desert, Project Thunderbolt accelerated toward completion. The project combined captured Zeraxian communication technology with Earth's most powerful electromagnetic pulse generators. "Will it work?" President Williams asked Donovan during her inspection of the facility. The engineer's tired eyes reflected both doubt and determination. "The simulations are promising, but we've never faced this enemy in actual combat. We're making educated guesses. It's the best we can do," the president acknowledged. On the 7th day, orbital telescopes detected energy signatures near Neptune. The Zeraxians had returned, and they'd brought a battle fleet. Captain Morgan stood on the bridge of the upgraded Defender *, now fitted with Donovan's experimental shields. 115 Earth ships formed up behind him. Everything humanity could put into space on short notice. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Moore said. Morgan nodded grimly. "Then let's show these aliens what humans are made of." The Zeraxian battle fleet emerged from light speed near Neptune's orbit. 47 warships, each larger than anything humans had ever built, formed a perfect attack formation. At their center floated the command vessel, twice the size of the others, its black hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. War Commander Kraz stood on his bridge, 6 limbs folded in the posture of assured victory. His exoskeleton gleamed under the soft purple light favored by his species. "The primitives have assembled a defense," his sensor officer reported, surprise evident in his clicking speech. 115 vessels. Kraz's mandibles clicked in amusement. They believe quantity can overcome quality. Predictable for a young species. He studied the tactical display. Their ships are crude. Projectile weapons and chemical propulsion, with some primitive energy shielding. The Xeraxian fleet advanced with mathematical precision. Their formation had conquered 100 worlds without modification. There was no need for creativity against such an inferior enemy. Captain Morgan watched the alien armada approach. Earth's ships were positioned in a loose, seemingly random pattern. This was intentional, the exact opposite of the rigid Xeraxian formation. "All ships maintain position," Morgan ordered. "Let them come to us." The Xeraxians opened fire at extreme range. Energy beams lanced through space. Most missed their targets as Earth ships performed evasive maneuvers that appeared chaotic, but followed carefully planned patterns. Shields holding at 82%. Lieutenant Moore reported as the Defender shuddered from a direct hit. "Return fire," Morgan ordered. "All ships, execute Echo Protocol." Earth's fleet suddenly broke formation, splitting into smaller groups that attacked from multiple angles. This was not how space combat was supposed to work according to Xeraxian military doctrine, which valued order and coordination above all. War Commander Kraz watched in confusion as the human vessels swarmed around his fleet like insects. "What are they doing? This is not proper battle procedure." "Sir, we've lost contact with Destroyer 7, his communications officer reported. "And Destroyers 3 and 12 report shield fluctuations." "Impossible," Kraz hissed. "Their weapons are primitive." But the humans weren't fighting fair. Donovan's shield disruptors targeted specific frequencies, creating momentary gaps in Xeraxian defenses. Small, fast Earth ships would dart through these gaps, delivering nuclear payloads directly against alien hulls. 3 hours into the battle, 7 Xeraxian ships had been destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost 28 vessels, a favorable trade given the size and technology difference. Kraz paced his command deck, 4 eyes blinking rapidly in agitation. They adapt too quickly. Their tactics are unpredictable. A massive explosion rocked his ship. "What was that?" he demanded. "A human vessel deliberately collided with our port weapons array," his tactical officer reported. "They sacrificed themselves." Kraz couldn't comprehend such behavior. In Xeraxian culture, preservation of self was paramount. The idea of sacrifice for tactical advantage was alien to them. Captain Morgan led a squadron of 10 ships in a daring maneuver, targeting a Xeraxian battlecruiser that had become separated from the main fleet. His vessels coordinated their shield disruptors, creating a sustained weakness in the aliens' defenses. "All ships, concentrate fire on that spot," Morgan ordered. The battlecruiser's hull buckled under the assault. Secondary explosions rippled along its length before it broke apart. "Sir," Lieutenant Moore reported, "we've lost the Valiant and the Intrepid *." Morgan nodded grimly. Every victory came with terrible cost. On his command ship, War Commander Kraz made an unprecedented decision. "Withdraw to Phobos position. We must reassess our strategy." As the Xeraxian fleet retreated beyond Mars orbit, Captain Morgan allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The first battle had been fought, and humanity had proven itself more formidable than the aliens expected. But this was just the beginning. The real war had barely started. Dr. Olivia Winters hadn't slept in 36 hours. Her lab at the Lunar Research Base was filled with holographic displays showing Xeraxian brain scans alongside human neural patterns. She'd been studying the data captured during the battle, trying to understand why the alien psychic attacks had failed. "It doesn't make sense," she muttered, rubbing her tired eyes. "According to their own military records, their Psi officers can disable most species' nervous systems at close range." Then she saw it. A fundamental difference in how human brains processed fear responses. Where other species' neural pathways became chaotic under stress, human pathways became more focused. "We're hardwired for fight or flight," she said, the realization dawning. "Our evolutionary history as both predator and prey gave us something unique." She immediately called EDC headquarters. "Humans are naturally resistant to Xeraxian psychic warfare. This explains why their boarding parties failed." Meanwhile, Colonel Jack Bennett led a special forces team on a mission that military leadership called nearly suicidal. His target: a damaged Xeraxian scout ship drifting in high Earth orbit. "Remember, we need that ship intact," Bennett told his team as their stealth craft approached the alien vessel. "No explosives unless absolutely necessary." The 6 soldiers, wearing experimental space combat suits, used short-range thrusters to cross the void. They reached the Xeraxian ship's hull without detection. "Cutting now," whispered Sergeant Lisa Powell as she activated her plasma torch. The alien metal yielded surprisingly easily, creating an entry point. Inside, they faced their first Xeraxians up close. 2 wounded aliens attempted to defend their ship, but Earth forces had learned that conventional bullets work just fine against Xeraxian exoskeletons. "Ship secured," Bennett reported. 4 dead aliens, 2 taken alive. The vessel appears mostly intact. This capture proved invaluable. Engineer Sam Donovan led a team that boarded the scout ship while it was towed to a secure facility beneath the lunar surface. "Their technology is incredible," Donovan said, examining the bioneural interfaces. "Not just advanced, fundamentally different from our approach." For 3 days, human engineers reverse-engineered Xeraxian weapon systems. They discovered that the aliens relied heavily on crystalline computing structures that, while powerful, were surprisingly vulnerable to specific radiation types. They never needed to develop protection against these frequencies, Donovan explained to military leaders. None of the species they encountered used them as weapons. On the Xeraxian command ship, War Commander Kraz faced the first serious challenge of his career. His superiors demanded explanations for his failure to quickly subjugate such a primitive world. "These humans are unlike previous species," Kraz reported. "They adapt rapidly and have no regard for established combat protocols. They sacrifice individuals without hesitation to achieve tactical advantages." He replayed footage of human ships deliberately colliding with Xeraxian vessels to breach their shields. "Their biology makes them resistant to our Psi officers, and they learn our weaknesses with disturbing speed." In a rare move that revealed their concern, the Imperial Corps granted Kraz's request for reinforcements. A second fleet was dispatched from the nearest major Xeraxian base. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Eric Martinez made another discovery while interrogating captured Xeraxians. Using translation software and careful questioning, he learned about their rigid command structure. "They can't improvise," he reported. "Every significant decision requires approval from higher authorities. Their entire military doctrine assumes technological superiority and enemies who follow predictable patterns." Earth forces prepared to exploit this weakness. War games simulated increasingly chaotic battle scenarios designed to confuse and overwhelm Xeraxian decision-making processes. Captain Morgan stood on the observation deck of the lunar base, watching as Earth's second-generation defense fleet took shape. Ships retrofitted with captured Xeraxian technology prepared for the next confrontation. "They're regrouping at Mars," he told Dr. Winters, who had joined him. "Intelligence suggests they're waiting for reinforcements." Winters nodded. "Then we don't wait for them to come to us. We set the battlefield this time." The plan was audacious. A massive ambush at Mars using every technological advantage humans had scraped together. The largest space battle in human history was about to begin. The red planet Mars hung in space, seemingly peaceful against the backdrop of stars. Yet hidden in its orbit, nestled among its moons, and within the shadow of Phobos, waited humanity's combined fleet. 280 ships, many upgraded with reverse-engineered Xeraxian technology, maintained total emission silence. Commander Natalie Foster stood on the bridge of the Valkyrie *, the newest Earth flagship. All ships report ready, her communications officer informed her. Ambush positions secured. Foster nodded. Captain Morgan had been promoted to admiral and now coordinated the overall strategy from Luna Command, while she led the frontline forces. The plan was risky, but offered their best chance at victory. "The Xeraxian reinforcements have arrived," announced Lieutenant Ryan Abbott, monitoring long-range sensors. 87 new vessels joining War Commander Kraz's remaining fleet. On his command ship, Kraz greeted his reinforcement commander with the traditional Xeraxian gesture of mandible clicking. "The Imperial Corps understands the threat these humans pose," he said. "With our combined forces, we will crush their resistance." Second Commander Drez, leader of the reinforcement fleet, studied the tactical displays. "Where are their forces? Our sensors detect nothing beyond their homeworld's orbit. They are primitive but cunning," Kraz warned. "They hide and strike without warning. No primitive species can challenge the Empire," Drez replied dismissively. "We advance directly to their homeworld." The combined Xeraxian Armada moved toward Earth, approaching Mars on a standard trajectory. As they passed the orbital line of the Red Planet, Commander Foster gave the order. "All ships, commence Operation Thunderbolt." From their hiding places, Earth's fleet emerged. But instead of forming a traditional battle line, they broke into dozens of small squadrons that attacked from every angle. The Xeraxian formation, designed to present maximum firepower forward, suddenly faced threats from all directions. "What is this chaos?" demanded Second Commander Drez as his tactical displays flooded with enemy contacts. Before the Xeraxians could reorient their formation, Project Thunderbolt activated. 50 unmanned probes detonated in sequence, each releasing a precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulse designed to disrupt the aliens' bioneural systems. Across the Xeraxian fleet, ship functions faltered. Weapons systems reset. Shields flickered. It lasted only seconds, but it was enough. "All squadrons, execute attack pattern Omega," Commander Foster ordered. Earth ships darted through temporarily weakened Xeraxian defenses, delivering precisely targeted strikes against engines and weapon systems. Unlike traditional space combat, where ships kept their distance, humans fought at point-blank range, negating the aliens' superior targeting systems. War Commander Kraz watched in horror as his carefully organized formation dissolved into individual ships fighting for survival. "Maintain discipline," he ordered. "Reform the defensive sphere." But the humans prevented any reorganization. Commander Foster had studied ancient Earth naval tactics, particularly those from the age of sail when ships fought in close quarters. Her forces executed complex maneuvers that confused the Xeraxians' rigid battle doctrine. "They swarm like insects," Drez complained as another Earth vessel dove past his defenses to deliver a crippling blow to his ship's sensor array. 3 hours into the battle, the tide had clearly turned. 26 Xeraxian ships had been destroyed and another 34 severely damaged. Earth had lost 63 vessels, but the exchange ratio favored the defenders. The battle reached its climax when a squadron led by Commander Foster targeted Kraz's command ship. Using captured Xeraxian override codes, they momentarily confused the vessel's defenses. 3 Earth ships sacrificed themselves in succession, each striking critical systems. "War Commander," his sensor officer reported, "our main reactor is destabilizing." Kraz knew his duty. He sent a final transmission to Second Commander Drez. "The humans fight without honor or pattern. Retreat and report to the Imperial Corps." Then his ship erupted in a blinding explosion that temporarily outshone Mars itself. Drez, now in command of the remaining Xeraxian forces, made a decision unprecedented in Imperial military history. "All vessels, disengage and withdraw beyond this system's boundary." As the alien ships fled toward the outer solar system, Commander Foster allowed herself a small smile. "We've won the battle," she told her crew. "But the war has just begun." The captured Xeraxian scout ship revealed secrets that changed the course of the war. Deep within its engine compartment, Engineer Sam Donovan discovered the key to the aliens' faster-than-light travel technology. It's not impossible, Donovan explained to the gathered military leaders. Their FTL drive creates a bubble of altered spacetime. The mathematics are complex but understandable. For 3 weeks, Earth's brightest minds worked to adapt the alien technology to human ships. They faced countless failures before achieving success. The breakthrough came when they stopped trying to perfectly copy Xeraxian methods and instead created a hybrid system that incorporated human ingenuity. "It's ready," Donovan announced to Admiral Morgan. "We can install the prototype on the Intrepid Asterisk within 2 days." Morgan nodded solemnly. "Then it's time for Phase 2. We take the fight to them." The plan was audacious. A strike force would jump to Alpha Centauri, where intelligence indicated the Xeraxians had established their forward operating base. This would be humanity's first military operation beyond the solar system. Captain Alex Morgan, given temporary command of the mission, stood on the bridge of the Intrepid Asterisk as final preparations were made. 10 ships equipped with the new FTL drives formed his small but deadly fleet. "All vessels report ready, Captain," his first officer announced. Morgan took a deep breath. "Begin FTL countdown." The jump was disorienting. One moment they were near Earth's moon. The next, the familiar constellation shifted as Alpha Centauri's light filled their view screens. The human strike force had traveled 4.37 light-years in an instant. "Stealth systems active," reported Lieutenant Avid. "No indication they've detected us." The Xeraxian base orbited the system's second planet. 3 dozen warships surrounded a massive space station. This was Second Commander Drez's new headquarters, where he planned the next attack on Earth. Morgan's strike force approached using the stealth technology reverse-engineered from captured Xeraxian vessels. They moved through the enemy fleet undetected, each ship targeting a specific objective. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Eric Martinez led a different kind of mission. Using biological disguises created from studies of dead Xeraxians, he and 4 specialists boarded a supply ship bound for the space station. "Remember," Martins whispered to his team, "minimal movement, no human speech patterns. Follow my lead." The infiltration succeeded. While Morgan's fleet prepared their attack, Martinez accessed the Xeraxian command network. He uploaded a virus designed by Earth's best programmers, one that would scramble communications during the coming battle. In position, Morgan confirmed as his ships surrounded high-value targets. "Commence Operation Distant Thunder on my mark." The attack began with simultaneous strikes against the Xeraxian fleet's largest vessels. The aliens, caught completely by surprise, responded in confusion. Their communication systems failed, broadcasting gibberish instead of orders. "They're in disarray," Morgan observed. "Execute secondary targets." The battle lasted just 40 minutes. When it ended, the Xeraxian base was crippled and half their fleet destroyed. More importantly, Martinez had downloaded terabytes of strategic data about the Empire's military deployments. As the human fleet prepared to jump back to Earth, they received an unexpected transmission. It came from a nearby planet where the Xeraxians had established mining operations. "This is Elder Keth of the Lumari people," came a voice, using the Xeraxian translation protocols. "You have struck against our oppressors. We wish to speak with you." Morgan made a quick decision. "Mr. Martinez, you and I will make contact. The rest of the fleet returns to Earth with our findings." What they discovered changed the strategic picture completely. The Lumari were just one of dozens of species conquered by the Xeraxian Empire. Many were technologically advanced, but had been defeated through superior numbers rather than technology. "The Empire rules through fear," Elder Keth explained. "They are stretched thin across many worlds. Your victory has inspired others to consider resistance." When Morgan and Martinez returned to Earth, they'd brought representatives from 3 subjugated species and a proposal for an alliance that could change the balance of power in this region of the galaxy. Admiral Hayes reviewed their report with growing excitement. "This isn't just about defending Earth anymore," she said. We could liberate entire civilizations. The war was entering a new phase, and humans were no longer fighting alone. Earth's warships pushed through the Procyon system, driving back the Ziraxian defenders. This marked the third major stellar system reclaimed from Imperial control in just 2 months. The combined fleet, Earth vessels fighting alongside ships from the Lumari, Taveri, and 5 other formerly subjugated species, moved with coordination that confounded the rigid Ziraxian command structure. Admiral Morgan watched from the bridge of the Freedom, Earth's newest flagship. "Status report," he requested. "Ziraxian forces retreating to their secondary defense line," replied his tactical officer. "Our allies have secured the orbital platforms." The war had evolved dramatically. What began as Earth fighting alone for survival had transformed into a multi-species rebellion against the Ziraxian Empire. Dr. Olivia Winters had played a crucial role in this transformation, establishing diplomatic connections with other oppressed civilizations. The Ziraxians conquered through isolation, Dr. Winters explained to the Allied Council. They prevented their subject worlds from communicating with each other. None knew others were also planning resistance. Now those separate resistance movements had united under Earth's leadership. Humanity's adaptability and unconventional thinking provided the spark that ignited a galactic revolution. On the Ziraxian homeworld, the Empire's highest authorities gathered in an emergency session. The Grand Emperor Thraxus, who rarely involved himself in military matters, studied reports from the front lines with growing concern. "How can primitives defeat our fleets?" he demanded. "They controlled only one world." The Imperial Science Director bowed nervously. "Great Emperor, we have analyzed their tactics extensively. The humans possess unusual psychological traits. They embrace chaos in battle. They adapt rapidly. Most concerning, they form alliances based on mutual respect rather than dominance." "Impossible," hissed the Emperor. "No species volunteers to fight for another." "Yet our reports confirm it," the Science Director insisted. "The humans share technology with their allies. They risk their vessels to protect others. This behavior makes no logical sense, but it has created a fighting force that grows stronger with each victory." Meanwhile, Captain Natalie Foster, now commanding the Special Operations Vessel Shadow led a daring mission deep into Ziraxian territory. Her objective: the regional headquarters where the Empire coordinated operations for an entire galactic arm. "Stealth systems functioning perfectly," reported her sensor officer. "They have no idea we're here." Foster's ship carried representatives from each allied species, including Intelligence Officer Martinez. Their plan was not to destroy the headquarters, but to broadcast evidence of the Empire's weakness to all subjugated worlds simultaneously. Broadcasting in 3, 2, 1, Martinez activated the transmission. Across thousands of worlds, communication systems suddenly displayed images of Ziraxian ships retreating, Imperial forces surrendering, and the combined Allied fleet advancing unstoppably. The psychological impact was devastating. Uprisings erupted on dozens of worlds as news spread that the supposedly invincible Empire could be defeated. On the Imperial homeworld, Emperor Thraxus made an unprecedented decision. "Bring me the records of these humans," he commanded. "All of them." For 3 days, the Emperor studied every detail of humanity's rise from a single planet to the leaders of a multi-species alliance. He watched recordings of Earth vessels, employing tactics no Ziraxian would consider. He observed humans working alongside aliens, sharing knowledge freely. "They could destroy us," the Emperor finally concluded. "Not today, perhaps not for decades. But their alliance grows while our forces diminish." When Admiral Morgan received word that a massive Ziraxian vessel had appeared near Jupiter requesting parley, he approached with caution. The ship was unlike any they had encountered, clearly designed for diplomacy rather than war. "This is Ambassador Krex," came the transmission. "I bring direct communication from Emperor Thraxus himself." The Emperor's message was simple. The Ziraxian Empire offered peace, not surrender, but a genuine alliance of equals, something unprecedented in their 1,000-year history. The negotiations lasted weeks. Dr. Winters led the human diplomatic team, insisting on freedom for all worlds under Xeraxian control. "Your terms are unusual," Ambassador Krex admitted. "The Empire has never treated others as equals." "That's why you've never had true allies," Winters replied. "Only subjects who waited for a chance to rebel." 1 year after the Xeraxians first demanded Earth's surrender, a peace treaty was signed. The Galactic Council of Free Worlds was established, with every species given equal representation.